process.
Best I've heard.
And
Did you get your nails done yesterday?
I did.
Don't they look Eastery?
Yeah, but they're for Ukraine.
yeah.
They're what?
For Ukraine.
Oh, I like
That's what I
that.
feel very springish. Last time she got them done, because they're similar.
They're similar, yeah. There's a lot of blues out
I
there.
wish that I had thought of that, because I did my nails yesterday.
Okay. We can go down.
Oh, I like the French.
All right.
You know,
When you're
old, you don't change.
I don't know. I want to know what happened to the, shrimp.
Oh, that Cajun shrimp, it's on my toes. Now it's on your toes.
I left some out here in case Tom Sisson came,
Mm-hmm.
but I go ahead and put them together anyway. We just usually give him leftovers after the meeting, so he has them to refer to.
If we have a number of extras, I usually go ahead and put a set together for him if I know, especially if I know he's gonna be coming, but, oops.
I've got a little shamrock on my desk I should go and get, but yeah, no.
You better. I missed 4 of those. And I knew 2 of the 4 that I missed. I don't know how in the hell I missed them.
You know, oh, so you guys got your results back? Oh, okay. We took the train the trainer one, and there were 4 questions that I answered the way they wanted me to answer.
But you don't agree with it?
I do not, 100% do not agree with them. And so, but to pass and to get, 100%, I knew the answer they wanted, but I don't agree with their process, so.
Well, missing 4 is a 90, that's pretty good for me.
That's good, and it's your first year as commissioner too. I mean, really, you've been here a year, but still to take that test, and, oh yeah.
I guess that means, according to the email I got, I guess that means I qualify for the $300.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta wait till after something.
After the May election, yeah.
Something like that.
Yep.
What we got here?
That's gonna be so you guys can see the express vote ballot.
All right.
I'm gonna actually scoot that table a little bit. Oh, sorry, not this one.
Oh, yeah, it's going this way, yeah.
Well, I could walk that way, but I might have to pinch somebody that doesn't have.
I need to go get my shamrock.
Just put a little green shamrock on the back of your hand.
I have a green shamrock in my office. It sits underneath my desk in a little plastic cup with like a popcorn treat thing from Cracker Jacks. And it's just a little green.
If I can't find
plastic one.
yours, I'll get mine, it's a bookmark.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I
If
guess
can't
I'll
find
need
yours,
I'll need a paper clip.
Oh, you can put it through your buttonhole.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Lily was teasing this morning about St. Patrick's Day. No, you don't really believe in that kind of thing. With the last name of McGuire, you don't think. Let me turn this down.
Razorbacks play tonight, don't
Yes,
they?
they do, they're playing pretty late.
That's what I was thinking, because we looked at that and we didn't look close enough to see if that's gonna be 8-something Central, or if it's
It's 8:30 Central, which
Oh,
means
8:30
9:30 Eastern.
Okay.
But they've actually had a better record playing late games this year than they have playing early
Oh,
games.
okay, so,
Their early games seem to be the ones, based on what I read, that, they have had some problems. They've had some problems with slow starts.
right.
It seems like that's been mostly the early games
Mhm.
where they've had a problem with a slow start.
I know when I was watching them on TV, in the SEC tournaments, it seemed like the earlier ones, they lagged behind for a long
Yeah.
time before they even got close to catching up.
Yeah, I don't think these boys like to get up too early.
Something.
Well, now maybe
Yeah,
you're safe.
got a shamrock.
Let's see. All right.
I
So,
think if you clip it down,
that's what I'm saying. So Lynn, who used to work with us, I will tell you, she had a knack for finding shamrock. I mean, just out in her field and everything, 4-leaf clovers. And, so she brought these in one day for, I think, for St. Patrick's Day, because she knew I had no green. So, yeah. In my wardrobe.
Used to work with a fellow that was, Irish and just, you know, reveled in his, heritage, and his first name was Patrick, so St. Patrick's Day was a
That was
big
his
deal
day.
for him.
When I was in middle school, we would go sit out in the,
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Because I'll just be walking along, and I'll stop, and I'll reach down and pick one up, and he's like, you could point that out to me, and I still would not find it.
Yeah, that,
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
People just can.
yeah.
Well,
Oh, good.
she just barely has that green on that right there.
Oh, my eyes are green.
That's like people that say, well, my underwear's green.
I don't even pay attention to that stuff, so,
Yeah. Nobody ever pinches you either, do
no, they don't dare.
they? They fear.
Yeah,
It's the fear of Renee.
that's right, it's, so, we managed to all pass, I suppose?
Yes, Jim said he got his results.
Yeah,
Came-
yeah,
And,
in the email,
yeah, and when I talked to John, he said all 3 commissioners had passed,
yeah.
so, yeah.
Well, I haven't had a chance to look through them.
Well,
But I'll be interested to see, once I go through, I mean, maybe we should go through it just
So,
because they also sent with the results, they sent, explanations
okay.
under
Yeah.
each
Oh,
item
okay.
that, to explain why the right answer was the right answer.
Right. The one I don't agree with in this set of them,
Mm-hmm.
is question number. Is question number 10.
I got that one wrong.
And John says the law has changed recently, that it becomes automatically a provisional,
Yeah.
but I think that all the other ones concerning, designated bearers and
Mm-hmm.
differences of signatures and
Mhm.
differences of anything between the voter statement and the application are made provisional.
Yeah.
I think that this should be marked provisional
I agree.
and then rejected.
Exactly.
And that's,
It gives you a chance for due diligence.
Yeah.
You give them double chance, because we don't want to just reject something out of hand.
right, because you need to look, follow up with the clerk.
Mhm.
Did they sign, you
Mhm.
know, all of that sort of stuff. Because did the clerk accidentally stamp the envelope
Yeah.
and then no one filled anything out, but you've got a
Exactly.
stamp on the outside that says, you know, so in my mind, this one, yes,
That's
the
why
ultimate.
you check C.
Yeah, this one, the ultimate
Mhm.
answer is yes, it will be rejected.
Right.
But I think first, it's made provisional.
Yeah.
And I argued with John about that
Oh,
one.
did you?
Yeah. I said,
Isn't that a commission, prerogative?
I think the commission, and I would encourage the commission to say anything with designated bearers, we treat as provisional, and
Right.
then the commission ultimately review it rather than outright rejecting it.
Right,
I
right.
don't see that there would be anything wrong with that at all.
What would allow it to be not rejected if it
Um,
didn't, if it, in this case where the absentee voter statement for that ballot does not have a designated bearer listed?
If the clerk accidentally stamped the wrong ballot,
Mhm.
or if there was, you know, some other scenario that might have happened with it,
Could be several things.
yeah. Now, it's less likely to happen when, you have fewer absentee ballots.
Right, true.
So, like, for instance, I don't think that mistake would happen this year.
Mhm.
But
We're
when,
hoping.
yeah, but when they did like the drive, like when the people were
Mhm.
driving in things,
Dropping
I
off,
can
yes.
see that that
Yes.
would be something that might have happened
Yeah.
in there. So I just feel like, for me, I would hesitate to let the team
Mhm.
outright reject it.
Yes.
Versus the commission outright
Exactly.
rejecting it. The commission outright rejecting it, you're the ultimate.
Exactly,
Say.
yeah.
But 2 absentee canvassers that I've brought in, those are I wouldn't want that
Yeah.
on them. It's
Yeah.
just that was kind of the way I looked at it.
I agree. And, you know, those things will happen if you have a rush.
They will, and the other part of it is, every other designated bearer where there's a question, we treat as provisional.
Right.
But this one,
Yeah.
I'm gonna treat differently, and to get my absentee canvassers to treat this one differently and not the other
Good
one,
morning.
I think it's better to train them to say all
Yeah.
designated bearers where there's a question are treated as provisional.
Right.
And that will prevent our poll workers or canvassers from making a mistake.
Making a judgment that may be wrong.
Exactly, and I think
Yeah.
that because they might get confused and say, oh, well, I can reject this one, but they're looking at signatures on the
Right.
inside or
Right.
something along those lines. So if we treat designated bearer questions
Yeah.
the same and consistent, it's better for, our canvassers to not make a mistake,
Yeah.
is the way I look at it.
Yeah, that is up to the commission and not to the canvassers.
Yes, that's the way I look at it.
Well, did you look over your, I guess we're ready to start.
Oh, this?
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
the few I missed. I mean, it's good, there's a test, but to me, this is like a timed test where you have to
Yeah.
answer questions where normally you would have more time and more resources to devote to any specific question. I mean, you're gonna look
That's
it up
true.
in the
Yeah.
statute.
Today for an
Yeah.
open book test.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It would have been good for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Well,
You're not gonna remember all this stuff, and you're going to, I know I'm not.
I'm not either. Especially with the absentee ballot rules, I mean, some of that stuff.
well, that's what we
provisional
were
ballots,
talking
I-
about.
talking
Yeah,
about, that's where it
number
gets-
10. I don't know.
Yeah, I missed
Did
that
you?
one.
I did too.
Yep.
And,
I must have been lucky, 'cause I didn't miss it.
you didn't miss it.
That's not one, I missed 4, that wasn't one.
Oh, my goodness, how funny. Well, that was, I really felt that was, and that's what we were talking about. It is not the canvasser's, job.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It should be provisional so that the, commission can look at it,
Sure.
evaluate.
Yep, I agree. Some of these, the absentee ballot ones, I couldn't understand what they
Yeah.
were asking for, which step in the process,
Mhm.
because you have to make it provisional, and
Right.
then you decide whether it's counted or not.
Yeah.
And maybe you can't count it and you have to reject it no matter what, but the answer they wanted was that it's provisional.
Right,
It seemed that way to me.
Okay.
I don't,
Yeah.
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 It was a little confusing.
Well, anyway,
I think if anyone,
I'm gonna evaluate, like I say, I haven't read the whole thing, with their explanations. I'll send you a copy of
Yeah,
that.
dude, because I, like I said, that was the only one that I had questioned John on, when I was talking with him. So I haven't seen the explanation
Yeah.
of their reasoning.
Well, I appreciate that they put the explanations
Yeah.
in, because we need to understand the reasoning that they're going from.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we'll get back on agenda here. This meeting is called to order. First item is the approval of the minutes from Tuesday's meeting, Monday's meeting?
Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Yeah, boy, this week has flown. Any changes, observations on these minutes, y'all?
Me, I'm
It
good.
was fine to me.
Okay, they're approved as presented. Thank you, Evelyn, as always. Second item, ballot approval. Let's see,
So,
we got all of these.
yeah, you have, a set, I didn't run through complete sets of the gym and reps, but I
Oh.
figured you could just kind of pass them around.
Okay,
This has the black,
yes,
the darker, we actually did 80% because 100%.
that's a good idea, yeah.
You couldn't see the
Mhm.
line, on that top column.
Gotcha.
Now, when it's further down in the ballot, it looks really good and it pops out, but that first
Mhm.
column just looked like one big, long black line.
Right, right.
And so we dropped it down to 80%, we've adjusted.
You can easily do that. That's I mean, it still looks black.
Yeah, it still looks black.
Yeah.
So, and then we adjusted, you know, any of the different names that needed to be on multiple lines, we adjusted the school district one. So, yeah, so that will be what our, absentee ballots will look like.
Okay.
And what we're in the process of doing is, and we'll continue to do for this next week, is, we've proofed all the names to make sure the names are spelled correctly, we've proofed all the titles, all of that to make sure everything is correct out of the reports. We actually then take and go through each ballot face to make sure that it contains the appropriate races. Even though the reports have already told us it does, we still
Yeah.
will physically go
Yeah.
through each ballot to make sure that every race is included, that the candidate names are still spelled correctly on the ballot and all of that.
I think I'd be laying awake at night going over these.
So I do, and I
I
will
know.
tell you, I go through them up until the first day of early voting.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I know I can still make a change if I need to.
Right, right.
If for some reason I needed to. But we have a really thorough process of not
Mhm.
only doing the paper ballots, but then I actually have the team sit down and go through each express
Oh,
vote ballot
yeah.
and look at it on the express vote as well.
Good.
So,
I think these look good. You did a good job, Debbie. And I really do like the contrast with the darker.
yeah, it looks really good. I'm gonna order more ink though when we get into our COD ballots to make sure
Yeah,
we run out
yeah.
of the black, so. And right now, the clerk has right around, I think, 100 absentee ballot requests for the primary.
Already,
So-
well, There you go.
We have a recorder. Oh, I'm sorry, but we have a separate recorder. They have a separate recorder.
Yeah.
Just to be on the safe side. Technical difficulties, y'all. Okay, where were we? Oh, we were talking about these ballots.
If there's any problems, yeah, we approve them. The election office, Jennifer,
Yeah.
fixes them later.
Right.
If we notice any issues between now and after approving the ballots before they get sent out.
Yes, if there's, I mean, if it's like we discovered that there's a period that was supposed to be after the E or something like that, we'll fix that internally. If there's something where we've missed a candidate or missed a
Or a
race,
raise, yeah.
I will bring that back to the commission.
Okay.
But yes,
And we'll have an emergency meeting at that point.
yes.
Okay. All right, nobody has made a motion yet, but I'm ready for one.
We're just, approving the paper ballots.
Yes,
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve them as presented.
okay. I have a motion to approve and the
Second.
paper ballots as presented, and a second from Max. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, the ballots are approved, we can move forward on that. I'm gonna give you.
So then, the next one is the
Express
express vote ballot.
Is that these?
No, those are the instant runoff ballots.
Oh,
We're gonna
okay.
Look at them over there on
Oh.
that screen.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think.
gonna bring up, the one thing for you guys to note, this is the three different ways the ballot can print out. We selected this one versus the small, which I think.
Oh, my goodness.
That's too small.
This one doesn't get
Yeah.
all of
yeah.
your choices on it. We think this is the best option.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best out of the three.
I agree. Okay. You wanna see the other two?
So then this is what it'll look like on the express vote, if you guys want
Okay.
to see on the express vote.
Three columns.
All right, let's do this. And then you have to select large text,
Okay.
and then,
Yeah, I like that screen.
And look
Oh,
how
wow.
big it is. It's really nice.
Like
And
it
so,
used to be.
yes,
should be using
and then each one, you can go through and vote
And
this
it'll
way.
separate them.
It will separate them. But if you're like, okay, I wanna go back, then all you have to do is go back to text size, and then go back here. It goes back.
Cool.
So you
That's a
can
great
go back,
option.
and you can go back and forth.
just 2 pages then.
This one does, this is the Democratic one.
Okay.
And so if you make selections, just randomly,
Okay.
you just select anywhere and then, go on to next page, and then to the next page. The review screen is so much nicer than it was previously. I really feel like the layout of the review screen is vastly improved.
Yeah, that software update is great. That's what, this is like what it should have been originally.
Yes,
I
yes,
mean,
it
this
is.
is
Yes.
what it should be like.
Yes.
This is
Oh,
great.
yeah.
So, and then
Oh,
the
yeah.
print ballot.
Ballot.
Till the next time they do an
You wanna
update,
print it?
we
Yeah,
can,
we
this is
have
like
to.
it should have been.
Just want it, so
Let's
we'll
hope they keep
spoil
improving
the
it.
hour.
I mean, yeah. Yeah.
I think that's gonna, expedite.
I think so too, having it on multiple screens, and then you'll see like where you made a choice, the
Mhm.
candidate prints, if you didn't make a choice, it just says no selection.
And I presume that is the barcode.
The barcodes
Match
relate
letter.
to, if you'll notice on this one, you made 3 selections.
Right.
You voted for Jack Foster, you voted for all Dems, and you voted for something else, David Sterling.
Yeah.
So There's 3 barcodes
Okay,
there.
that's
That
what I thought.
represents your 3
Yeah.
selections.
And
The
the,
confidence
This
that you
is
need
our
now.
precinct.
Okay,
Yep,
yeah.
that's your precinct.
Cool.
Now, and then this is what the Republican one, I'm picking Prairie Grove City because it's one of the bigger ones that we have. Now when.
you care to?
Now, when the poll worker has the ballot, there will be printed at the top already the precinct.
Oh, yeah,
So the poll worker doesn't have to do this. I don't have the poll book
right.
ready yet. So basically, if the poll worker has to do a manual search, all the precincts will appear and they can go through and search, or they can start to type in. One of the things that we'll do, focus on when we do our poll worker training, especially for this,
What's that?
that's the site name. It will just say early vote or election day.
Oh,
This is-
gotcha.
this
Okay,
is-
that's what I was
We
wondering.
don't have any part of this process complete except for the ballot layout.
Okay.
These are the particulars we'll go
Yeah.
back through.
Okay,
Um,
because you were gonna go to Prairie Grove.
yeah, so this is Prairie Grove City. If you'll notice for Prairie Grove City, this is
Oh,
one thing we
that's
have to
right.
talk to our poll workers about. This is why we don't like doing manual ballots. These 3 represent the nonpartisan ballot. These 3 are the Dems, and these 3 are the rest. But if you notice this 231, 232, 235 afterwards, those are school zone splits. So for our poll worker, not only has to know Dem, Rep, or nonpartisan, school zone 1, school zone 2, school zone 5.
Wait, why,
This is if you had to do a manual ballot. So
Yeah,
if
okay.
you had to, let's say you have a voter who comes in and is not registered to vote, but they're voting a provisional ballot. You have to get from the clerk, their precinct, you have to get this code here, and then the poll worker then will make these selections. This is why the poll book is
Yeah.
key.
Yeah.
It prevents poll workers from having to do any of this, because that is printed at the top in a barcode that goes straight to their ballot.
Yeah.
yeah.
They don't ever see these screens except for manual searches, and we want to cut down on manual searches.
Right.
But unfortunately, when you have like someone who's not registered to vote, not in the poll book, but we're voting them a provisional ballot, this is the only way to do it. So this is one of the things when we do poll worker
Supervisor would just be
training,
the one to do this, right?
a supervisor or like your top
Yeah.
poll worker,
Okay.
but for
And they
a
would be
supervisor,
aware.
yeah, when we do training, this will be part of the training, they'll have screenshots of this to know to be aware of all of this, but yeah, so this is kind of,
Those are, so you're selecting a precinct, Prairie Grove City 1, and then you have to select another precinct.
so Prairie Grove
Is that
City
basically
1,
it?
yeah, Prairie Grove City 1 is the precinct. These 3 parts here are the school zone splits inside the precinct.
Doesn't that mean it's still, those are each precinct?
They're called splits, but technically, yes, it's like a precinct.
Did we just call them splits and split
We-
them up like that, so that we didn't sort of eliminate all the old precincts, like Prairie Grove City 1?
So Prairie Grove
Because
City
this doesn't happen
1,
very often that there's a school split, is that the
So
reason
for-
that it's
yes,
this way?
for a primary election, we will have the school splits in there. For the general election, we won't have splits because the schools all elect, in May. The school zone splits became more obvious because the school districts all had to go to split.
Yeah.
So now,
Yeah.
every precinct almost has these internal splits inside.
Wow.
So,
Got it, yeah.
for the poll books, it's great. The poll workers, 9 times out of 10, will ever see this
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
But for those provisional ballots, they then have to go in and carefully select, and not just, and you've noticed too, these are your nonpartisan, this
Right.
is your Dem, and this is your Republican. So they have several chances to make a mistake.
Yeah, 3 times 3,
Yeah.
sure.
So, it's, that's definitely one of the things we cover in training, is making sure that you're aware
Yeah.
that you've got to have that 6 numbers from the
Yeah.
clerk's office to
Right.
select the right ballot.
Okay.
I mean, it's just a consequence of the legislature adding school elections with
Mhm.
100,
primary in general, right?
100% it is,
So
yeah.
it is what it is.
Okay, so if someone else wants to.
Go ahead,
vote, if
Jim.
you'd
Go
like-
for it.
yep. Just randomly.
I'm just gonna put in the, current,
It's hard when you're doing this, like, you don't wanna appear like if I ever do this for an interview. You don't
Oh,
ever want
yeah.
to be appearing to
Sure.
support a candidate over another candidate, so a lot of times I just leave it blank.
yeah,
But this will let you see what it looks like when we print it out.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. I like the layout of this so much better.
Oh, my,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
I think, you know, otherwise this would have been 20 pages
Yep.
versus 3.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, it is a great point.
And if, so for instance here, like you didn't make a selection,
I wanna go
if
back
you,
to that.
you just hit that and it goes straight back to that,
Oh, yeah.
That's nice.
and it lets you vote, so it's this slide is
It's,
on
this
me.
one, isn't it?
Yes, it's this one right here. And a summary, so you don't have to go back through the screens.
Oh, that's good.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay.
Now,
You
if
checking
you
them
did
No, I still
not
am on.
vote
Till we
on
get out of here.
anything, it tells you you voted a blank ballot. Are you sure you
Oh,
want to vote
yeah.
a blank ballot? Now, when we get to the general election, we'll have write-in candidates, and I'll show you how the write-in
Right,
candidates work.
I've been mulling that over and
So
thinking
the
about.
write-in candidates, what happens for those, it just says write-in.
Oh,
If you
okay.
select that, and a screen pops up and you type in their name.
Ah, okay. Now, I may be getting ahead of things. Is there gonna be an issue if somebody chooses a candidate and then later on decides they want to make that a write-in for that office?
So there's no write-ins for this election. So
Okay.
you don't even have the
Okay,
opportunity.
Yeah, but in the
Write-in,
general.
for write-in candidates, you have to file to be a write-in candidate.
Right.
But that line will
Yeah,
be
cool.
there. So if they want to
Yeah,
go
be
back,
on
So
the-
can read it in.
It'll be
Yeah.
on the screen before,
so when you see the names, write-in will be the last box.
Okay, good.
So you can type in the name, but if you get to the back end and you're like, you know what, no, I actually wanted to vote for a different
Right.
candidate, you can go back.
Okay.
And then even if you do that and you print your ballot, before you put it in the
Oh,
ballot
yeah.
box, we can spoil it and you can vote, you can start all
Oh,
over
my
again.
goodness, yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So the only thing we noticed on this, on the medium one, was,
Some of them are truncated.
well, they're not truncated, but, if you pick, let's see, the like school election, it falls underneath there, but we still think it's pretty clean versus the
Yeah,
small
yeah,
one, which we
absolutely.
think is, for me, not readable.
No, for many people,
So-
it would not be readable.
And if you notice now on this one, see, there's 3 boxes
Mhm.
there, but look at all the
Mhm.
boxes there.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, so. And then for the poll workers, when it prints out of the poll book, we are working to make sure that when it prints the precinct, it also prints like an R or a D,
Oh,
so that
okay.
the voter sees that visual,
Yeah.
yes, I selected a Democratic ballot, that D is telling me
Okay.
that that's what that is.
Okay.
So, yeah, so, and then we'll go through all 900 some odd precincts and vote for the candidate.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Okay.
so, and that's then how we'll build our test deck
Oh, yeah.
for LNA.
Okay. It may be simple, but not that simple.
Yeah, it's a process.
Wow. Okay, well, So, I believe we would like to have an express vote ballot approval motion.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor of
Aye.
accepting
Aye.
the express vote ballots as presented to us? Aye.
3 times. I kept it.
Unanimous.
I kept saying it.
Aye, Okay, let's move on to instant runoff ballots. Would you please enlighten me?
Yes, so, you know, we've done this for years, and I don't know that I've ever brought them in for you to actually see. So anytime you have an overseas absentee ballot, they get what is called an instant runoff ballot. For anyone who's in the military, they get one that's generated, from the state side, and so,
Oh, that's right.
we don't have to worry about those. But for U.S. citizens who are overseas and request an absentee ballot, a lot of times there's not enough time between the election and the runoff to send them a new ballot, and then they send it back in time for them to be counted. So we prepare these instant runoff ballots that are included with their original ballot. If you notice, they look nothing like
Right.
a regular ballot, because what they're going to do is they're actually going to rank their choices. So if there's 5 candidates, they're gonna go through and they're gonna rank 1 through 5 on what, for the runoff. And then when we get these back, they're set aside. When we canvass the absentee ballots, we have to manually then enter their choices in.
Okay.
So, yeah,
So is this the format that they're sent in?
So this is, so this is what we send to them.
Oh, you don't have to.
With the
Sorry.
instructions
Uh-huh.
on how to complete it and everything, so, yeah.
Okay.
So, and this is, during training, this is the sample that John used. He called to ask about what our samples, our runoff ballots looked like, and that was the sample that he presented
Gotcha.
at training for the instant runoff ballot.
These are strictly for overseas runoffs where we can't get people to get the candidates right away, as
That's
soon as they're
correct.
known.
Anyone who is here in the state gets so when we do our runoff ballot, they will actually get
A runoff.
a runoff ballot. These are strictly, like you said, for overseas citizens.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve these official runoff ballots.
Okay.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second to approve the instant runoff ballots as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, early vote and election day vote center update.
I am finalizing with, Town, City Hall about Election Day, so I'll let you know. So we'll have all of these for next week. And then, Covenant is good for Saturday early voting.
Oh, good.
And then I am confirming with Bud Walton about that Thursday. He thought it was okay. He was just he just had one more, person to be able to say, yes, it's okay.
Oh,
But he
yeah.
didn't see that it was gonna be an issue.
Great.
Confirmed with Shiloh Meeting Hall the days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We're good for that. So as far as early voting goes, I think we're good on everything. Election day wise, once I get confirmation back from Town, if they are available for us on Tuesday, then we'll need to make a motion for closing St. Joseph's and opening Town. Archer, I had an email from Dr. Davis yesterday. They are confirming, he's not sure, but they are confirming.
So he got back to you?
Yes, he did. At Raves Mill Community Center, I talked with the supervisor yesterday. He has 5 poll workers.
Oh, no
We'll be
kidding.
We'll be good for Raves Mill.
Wow.
So,
Well,
I will tell you, that supervisor has worked so hard to just keep that community center open.
Yeah.
They've done renovations in it. It's still
Wow.
basic.
I
when
thought
you-
you
community
were still in
building.
supervisor from
That,
somewhere else.
so what happened was, his wife, who was a poll worker as well, had passed away right before the general. And we had to get a fill in.
Oh, I
for the
see,
new
temporarily.
supervisor. I didn't know how he would feel about coming
Right.
back
Yeah,
this
yeah,
year.
yeah, got it.
But he has worked so hard to keep that community center open.
Hey, that's great.
He was like,
That's great.
he's like, if I find poll workers, I'm like, find poll
Ah.
workers.
Yeah, that's
So,
great.
yeah.
Good,
For
okay.
him.
So I think we're
Thank
in
him.
Good for him, I
good
agree.
shape there. I
Yeah.
will have confirmation hopefully about Archer within the next day or so.
Okay, so those are the only two at this point that are still up in the air?
Yep, those are the
Okay.
only two.
Good deal.
Super.
Good updates. Nice
And
work.
I mean, if Ray's Mill, it doesn't sound like they may be up in the air.
No, he confirmed with me,
Okay.
he had 4 poll workers, so yeah, including,
That's
and
super.
not including himself.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
What about the hours for early voting? For like on a Saturday particularly?
they're 10 to 4. 10 to 4.
State law,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Other than if there's some issue at a polling location, we may have to have different hours, where they may not have us on
I
Saturday.
had someone in the Marshallese community ask me about that because they were wanting to get it out when the Saturday voting would be especially.
Yeah, and it depends on the location, just because some locations won't let us be there certain days, and, 10 to 4 is the maximum you can allow for early voting on Saturday,
Okay.
under state law, so I wish it was longer hours, but that's what it is.
okay, can we hold any more questions until the end, if you don't mind?
That's good, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we've got the early vote and election day vote center update. Anything else you wanna, point out on the list here?
No, I think that's it. I think this is the earliest we've ever had to finalize these decisions. New state law put it at 60 days rather
Right.
than 30 days. So that's why I feel like we're a little under the gun. And
Yeah.
normally we have a little bit more time to do this, but, we will have it, the deadline is March 25th, so we'll have all of this ready to be signed,
Okay.
next Thursday.
Okay, perfect.
Good deal.
I bet this is making you feel like you've got something off your plate.
Yes, actually it did.
Ah.
I did this, last night, or 2 nights ago. I sat down and put all this together, and I was like, it felt good to have this.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's fine.
I appreciate the red ink on the first page. I think we need to, it helps to have a contrast there so that people can see closed on certain days.
Yes, now remember too, this is what is published in the paper,
Oh,
just
yeah.
twice. So when I set up the website,
Website,
I set up a page that is just for early vote.
Right.
I set up a page that is just for election day, and I do all the contrast inside
yeah.
that as well. But this is just the publication that goes in the paper and gets posted
Yeah.
at the polling locations.
So it won't be in red there.
It will be posted. I can ask the newspaper to do it in red. I'll ask them.
It's gonna cost.
The paper? To do
The
this in
newspaper.
red?
Yeah, well, to do that,
The markings that
the
she
lines
has.
where it says closed on Monday, May
For your printing
23rd.
in the paper, your legal notice?
Yeah.
Can they do that?
I have them print in the retail section, so you have a lot more flexibility in the retail section
Mm.
than you do in the legal
Mm.
section.
Doesn't matter where we put it?
It doesn't. By law, we're just required to print it, and some counties do it in the legal section because that's what they consider, but I feel like people don't look
They
in the
never
legal
look,
section.
yeah.
So we have always published it in the retail section, like next to news stories and things like that, so yeah. So.
Sure, I knew that, yeah. If it doesn't specify in state law, it just says published in this paper of general circulation,
Yeah,
right?
and that's what it
Right,
says.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, on the website, you do also make this into, so somebody can download it as a PDF, correct?
Yes, I can.
Okay, because that's, I like to have those to hand out to people.
Yeah,
Okay.
both, as a PDF, but also just on the
Yes,
webpage.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, I'm with
Uh-huh.
you. Yeah.
Yep, I can do that.
All right, any other observations, questions on, the early vote list? And we will sign this, and Election Day, we will sign this next week after these other, after it's finalized.
Yes.
Jim, anything on that?
No, this, this
No, I'm
is,
good.
you say this is gonna be published when?
So this won't be published until 8 days before early voting starts. But I take pieces of this and I create our web pages for it. So I'll create a page for early vote, I create a page for election day.
And this is all on our,
Yes,
when will it be there?
after Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday?
Once the commission approves it, I'll go ahead and start working on it.
Yeah.
But after the commission approves it on Thursday, I'll have it on the website.
So then I've had some questions about, I guess this is the ballot, order that we drew. I've had some questions about what order did somebody get, or what, position did they
And that is already posted on the website.
Yeah, that is.
Is it? And what's
It
it,
is.
where is it on?
If you look under candidates,
Okay.
there's the whole candidate section. I already have all of that posted on the website.
Perfect, thank you.
Did you notice how many times you picked a 2 first?
No.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, that's
It was,
funny.
I just kept thinking, he's not gonna pick another 2.
That's so
And
funny.
you did.
It's
I
one of
didn't count how many times,
Oh, I
but
didn't
it
even
was,
think about it.
it was very often.
The order of the first couple of picks was almost the same
It
almost
was,
every
I
time.
do
yeah.
feel like that, and of
Yeah.
course, I wasn't paying attention as much as I
Right.
was doing it,
Right.
but, yeah, funny. It's
Yeah.
one of those
I
mathematical.
saw you looking in there.
It's one of those mathematical things, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know, but there's something like,
Yeah.
things that you would think were mathematically, statistically
Mhm.
improbable,
Mhm.
actually are very probable.
Yeah,
Just
well,
something like that,
especially
right?
when you've got small numbers like
They're
that.
as random as anything else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're exactly right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
Okay, I'm sorry, I should have not gotten us off on that rabbit trail, but I had to say it. Next item, precinct list updates.
We should have that by Thursday, because there'll be an order for the commission to sign. And then once we have the shape files, we'll send those to the state GIS, and then that will complete the whole redistricting process.
Wow.
Finally
Great.
complete. So, yeah.
You'll be glad to have that one off your plate. Okay, review notice of election.
And you guys have already been kind of looking at
Yeah.
it. Here, this is what I've prepared for the layout. This is what will be published in the paper. For absentee canvassing, we can start canvassing the Tuesday before Election Day, so we will start that Tuesday.
Mhm.
And then canvass for the full week, and then Election Day, we will start at 9 o'clock, canvassing and tabulating absentee ballots. So, but that will all be included in the notice of election that the commission will sign,
Okay.
along with the dates for objections for poll workers.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not
Okay.
until like May 2nd, that date.
Okay, any other comments on that, y'all?
Nope.
Upcoming meetings, March 21st at 9 a.m., and it looks like we've got it, well, I mean, we're pretty much gonna rerun this meeting, but we're gonna have the final
Actual,
stuff.
yes.
Okay. Anything on that, y'all? Is that gonna work for you?
Yeah, I've got it on.
Work for
here,
you?
I think.
Okay.
Works like that.
And then other business. Do we have any other business?
I have one item. I was notified, by the comptroller's office that our 2021 budget went in the hole $2,300.
Really?
And was asked to write an explanation of why. And so the explanation being that we had, the State Senate District 7 election.
Oh, yeah.
That we did not anticipate. We actually had way more elections last year
Yeah.
than we've ever had in an off year. And so I explained that to the comptroller in case, because that is part of the cleanup bill that is presented to the quorum court on, like, money that's turned back that a department didn't spend, and
department that went under.
In the
This
hole.
is the first time we've ever
Yeah.
gone in the hole. But considering the special elections that we had, the redistricting,
Mhm.
the governor's election that was declared, I felt like $2,000.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you separate out the cost of that, governor's,
So I can and I will, and that was the other thing that I told him too, I just have not had a chance to sit down and do it. Those two elections, the one in December, which put us in the hole, and then the one in January, will be reimbursed by the state, so that money will come back
Good,
to
good.
the general fund. So that $2,000 that we're in the hole, poll worker costs, just when I submit that part, will, you
Raise that
know,
up.
will raise that up, because that's like $8,000 just for the December election. And then you've got publication costs
Mhm.
and truck rental, all of those things are reimbursable.
so you say you're anticipating that the reimbursements will overcome
Oh,
Yeah.
the,
yes,
Yeah.
so we're really not in the hole.
right.
Did you explain in there that our budget is different than any other department because we're building it the year before and we
Yeah.
don't know what elections we're gonna have to hold, so we're just anticipating
Yes.
what elections there are, and we're trying not to ask for too much money in the budget because we don't want an
Right,
excessive
right.
amount in the budget, but we're also trying to ask for enough to
Mhm.
cover unknown, unforeseen special elections that a city could decide to hold 10 months down the road, that we would have no idea.
Yeah.
Right? It's a hard
Exactly.
balancing act to be able to.
It is.
On the budget piece,
But-
since we get money remitted
That's
from
what I
the
was
state
gonna
and the
say.
city,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter, it's just a matter of
The,
having the dollars in the right place.
Right.
So it's not a, $2,000 off is pretty good
when you look at the
all
whole
the
picture.
for a year and all the
Yeah.
elections.
Yeah, that's the thing, we're just unique in that regard, and it's hard to nail things down.
It is, and that was, I explained exactly what you said,
Good.
that especially
It's all coming back.
the State Senate District 7 election was not anticipated
No.
Yeah.
at all.
No.
And we had already had at least 2 more elections than we had anticipated.
That's right.
So we were right on that cusp, and with it being, mandated by the governor and,
Mm-hmm.
actually, we don't have a choice for elections.
That's right.
No.
If an entity says they want to hold an election, we have to hold the
Yeah.
election, we can't say no.
Yep.
But I did explain that in my note
Good,
to,
okay.
to Shannon, that
Okay.
it was
Great.
totally anticipated. And the other thing was the timing of it, I felt prevented us from being able to effectively go to the quorum court
And ask for.
to ask for more
Happened
money
too
just
fast
because
at the end
it
of the
happened
year.
so quickly. And I was hoping that the monies I didn't spend
Right.
in the bottom part of my budget would offset.
Yeah.
Because really where I went into the hole was poll worker costs, $15,000 is where I went into the hole.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that the money in the bottom part of my
Mhm.
budget would offset that, but I missed it by $2,300, so.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pretty good.
man, you should really get whipped with a lash on that.
Well,
Pretty good.
I was like, we've never
Don't feel
gone
guilty
into
about it.
that.
You're getting that money back. So, and, I think that's the picture that we have to, like you said, continue to hammer on is,
Yeah.
look, this money comes back
It does.
eventually.
Because folks don't know.
Yeah.
Or they forget.
Or they
it's
forget,
new
and it's
folks,
easy
and
to
it's easy
forget.
to forget, but
Yeah.
our budget is different than
Mhm.
any other budget
Mhm.
up here in the courthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, other business, I, asked Jennifer to give us a map so we could have a visual of the polling places and the districts. So, that's what this is for. I didn't want her to have to go into the big thing,
Yeah.
because I can't nail that down on my door at home. This is probably, I need a bigger one than this, but this will suffice. So.
I can ask Dawn if you want something a little bit bigger.
We had, I feel like one year we had one that was maybe twice this.
Okay.
I don't remember, I mean, it's been quite some time ago, but I had that behind my door.
Okay, I'll ask Dawn what
Okay.
sizes she can, print the map
If it's not
for
too
us.
difficult.
No, and then this one she sent me as a PDF, and I can,
Okay.
when I get the polling places, I can
Yeah.
upload this as well as
Okay.
a printable.
Okay. Super. All right, that is all the business that I have. Jim, anything?
Nothing from me.
Max?
Nope.
I decided I'm gonna call you He-Max. Not
I was
He-Man,
thinking
but
that drawing the numbers.
He-Max.
Oh, yeah. funny.
Okay, so, Beth, do you have anything for us?
Yes, thank you very much.
Sure.
Renee. First of all, when you say the early voting sites will be on the web on Thursday, is that what you said?
Next
After.
Thursday.
Next Thursday, okay. Just off the top, is there a list that has at least the early voting sites in Springdale?
It's really just a whole list.
We only have like 12 sites, so it's not like it's you're talking about early voting.
Yes, early voting.
They list the address, basically.
This is, and we say Thursday because we're
Might be
still trying to
Friday.
hammer out a few of the details on it. So we haven't officially designated any of those sites yet.
Okay.
It's still in, yeah,
draft.
it's still in draft form. So we anticipate those are all gonna be the sites that we approve but we haven't officially declared them just because we're still trying to finalize a few details of the site.
Oh, okay, I misunderstood then, I thought that's what you had done.
We
No,
approved
we'll approve it
the
next week.
ballots, but it was really more just an update on, we've been
This
talking
is
about
the
it for a few
progress
years,
that
about
we've
progress,
got.
about a few locations that we're still trying to iron out,
Okay.
voting and times, and, we anticipate that will be it, but on Thursday, we'll officially vote to
Okay.
designate all of them.
Okay, and on the precinct list that you said will also be updated on next Thursday, could you talk about that just a little bit? I mean, when you said that would be the end of the redistricting, because I know when I was in earlier meetings, I heard lots of talk about how you were trying to consolidate some precincts.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
That
the
didn't
opposite
happen.
happened. The opposite, and Jennifer can explain better, but it was a couple things. So when they do the House lines and the Senate lines, they wouldn't draw them like right on top of each other. Sometimes they'd be over by just a little bit, and it makes a precinct there. And then with all the school district, the wards, right, the city wards.
School district.
School districts,
Yeah.
my bad.
Slivers.
Yeah,
We haven't
exactly.
even gotten to the ward part of it yet, and that will be this summer. We
Oh,
will
yeah,
have
that's right,
to
we haven't
go
even
back.
messed
Oh,
with that
yeah.
yet, so it'll get even worse. Yeah, but anyway, on the school district piece,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the school zones just, last year had to go, school districts all had to go to zone
instead of at large.
instead of just at large,
Oh,
which
okay.
created new, splits inside of a precinct. So those splits, one of the things I was talking to the commission about when we were looking at the express vote ballot were those splits inside the whole precinct. And so those are unique just to the school zone. But because we had so many House and Senate lines that didn't pay attention to trying to match up with one another, we had existing precincts where we had to pull out parts of it because it no longer, the whole precinct no longer was in State House 1, a tiny portion of it would be in State House 2. So that then would have to become a new precinct. And so when we went through all that process, rather than being able to consolidate, we actually had to increase the number of precincts that we had.
So the only thing we were in charge of and could control the lines for were the JP districts
Yep,
for the Quorum Board.
exactly.
And we tried to minimize the precinct, the number of extra precincts by drawing those lines, but the State Board of Apportionment didn't listen to our feedback on the House and the Senate lines, didn't try to match it up with existing school district lines, and just drew their own lines on the map, and so we have more precincts now than we did before.
Now, if I recall, you said this summer we will hopefully be able to clean some of that up.
So this summer, we'll actually have to do the ward maps, for the city of Fayetteville. So that, fingers crossed, doesn't create any more precincts because they tried to work with us on that. The school zone map, we won't work with those until next year.
Oh, okay.
Because for the general election, we don't have to worry about the
Good
school
point,
zone.
yeah.
So we're gonna just kind of leave that alone until the following year, and then
Got
we
it.
will work on actually making those unique precincts. Because these splits, still exists.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're always better off proofing to have one-to-one, rather
Yeah.
than the whole, and then try and figure out which
Yeah, yeah,
parts
yeah.
of the inside match this school zone. And then, if, I don't have it with me, but like I said, for instance, the clerk's alphabet doesn't match our alphabet. So when you look at the Fayetteville precincts, the numbering system, you would think it goes Fayetteville 1. We used to have 47, and now we have 59 Fayetteville precincts.
Yeah.
But or 60. It goes Fayetteville, you think it would go Fayetteville 1 to 60,
Right.
but it goes Fayetteville 49, Fayetteville 47, and it's just how we had to figure out the numbering system. That's a project for us next year to do, to clean up,
Yeah.
so that it does make sense. We make it work,
Right.
but it would be better, going forward if we could get all of that cleaned
Yeah.
up. But that's just, we didn't have time with
Yeah.
the governor's election for that state senate, just
Well, not
made
just
it
that,
impossible for us to
but
finish some
the
things.
fact that redistricting
Yeah.
was so delayed,
Yes.
Yeah.
that put us behind, a great deal,
Yeah.
for the normal thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you're right.
all right, well,
Wait just a minute. Okay, on the precincts, please, will the precinct maps be online where you can actually see the precinct?
So-
Because we had trouble, we were looking at this last weekend and we were having trouble.
Right, because we don't have them finished yet.
Right, okay.
So-
But when that's on, it will be? Okay. Okay, and may I have a copy of the map that you just passed out, that had the voting precincts and stuff? I was
They're not
really-
finalized?
Right.
So these are just
this
these are not finalized, but these are the election day polling locations.
Well, that'll help, thank you.
And I think they're all the same, they're all the same ones so far, but again, one or two of these could close before next Thursday.
yeah,
Okay, well, that's
right.
amazing. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
but it should be, sure.
Thank you, that's all.
All right, any other items? If not, we are adjourned.
Right.
Off
to the races. You guys all have a good one.
All right. Off to the races. I'm going off to the races.
I was trying to find, I made a copy of
In the morning.
but now I can't
Are you,
find it.
hit this one?
No, it's actually,
Are you hid?
got a lot of trouble.
Hot Springs.
Going down at the end of the month.
Ah, so you are actually off